Hello friend, this is Krishna and today we are going to see the entire working of hashcode and equals methods in Java. So basically we will see how it works exactly, and I have noted down some queries here. So we will try to find solution for each one by one. So just read it out first. We will check for all queries what are hashcode and equals method. We will try to understand then contract between hashcode and equals methods, how hashcode create internally, why these methods in object class, and what is problem if we do not override these methods, right? So again, think what are uses or benefit to overriding this method, how can we create this method, why do we need to override both method when we using collection framework. Last thing, why does it not work if we override only one method? So why why this is compulsory to override both method. So just get the solution one by one. So basically, first, what are hashcode and equals method exactly in Java? Basically, these method is in object class and provide some functionalities, like when what is working of that equals method compare the objects, two objects, like one object we are calling with this method and one we are passing as a parameter. So this will check the equality of two objects. Now what hashcode method does, it returns the integer value of the memory. So we can say the hashcode, this will return integer hash code of the particular object. Okay, so this is the basically use of both method, and this methods in object class basically. Now come to next point, contract between hash code and equals method. What contract means, what are definition follow both. So this is the contract. If two objects are same, then hash code must be same for both objects. Like if s1 s2 is same string, then hash code will return the same value, same integer value. But if hash code of two objects are same, then it is not necessary that values should be same. So sometimes it is possible that two same hash code represent the different value, because hash code generated with the help of some calculation, right? So it is possible that for two different value it could generate same hash code, right? Now this was basically contract between both methods. How hash code create internally? For this I have a picture actually, so I'll show to you. Here is some memory working for these hash code generation. We have two object 1 and object 2. Just say there is two hash code, h1 for object 1, h2 for object 2. Basically hash code creates in form of integer, but here just for reference I have take there is h1 and h2, right? So in a memory for each hash code there is some separate bucket. So this is a bucket storing object of hash code h1. So all object which have hash code h1 will store in this bucket. So there are some indexes or memory area, so object is stored here. In the same way, we have another bucket for h2 hash code. If we have some another object or hash code called h3, we will have the same, right? Now come to the point, if two hash code are same, so say if I create another object, say object 3, but it will the same hash code as h1, then that value is stored here, right? But if that object 3 will create the different hash code, I mean this not h1 or not h2, then this will create another bucket and store the object 3 there. So this is the internal creation of the hash code and storing the object in the memory. Okay, now why these methods are in object class? As the object class is a parent class of all Java classes, so Java people provide some default implementation for that method, so we can directly, if we don't override this method, then we can directly use these default functionalities. Okay, so let me first show you where in object class is that method and how they implement it basically. So let's say this is I have just created for a reference. Let me open the object class. So this is my object class. Here just find the equals method. So this is my equals method. This is the default implementation of object equals method. So what it return, it just compare the equality of two different objects, this and object we are passing in this parameter. So this will return true if both objects are same. It will return false if both objects are not same. Right, now come to next, say hashcode. Okay, this is my hashcode method. Okay, so as you can see, this is native method in object class. There is no implementation for this method. So basically if you are aware of a native method, basically the native method are some methods, some functionality that is not implemented or available in Java language. So they have taken from different languages. We can say C or C++. So this is taking from another language. This will generate the hash code in the same way what implemented in C or C++, right? So but when we need to implement, we can put our code as per requirement. So this is basically hash code and equals methods are in Java or in object class. Fine, now come to next point, benefits. Okay, what is the problem if we do not override these methods? To understand this point, we need to write the code and try to understand with the help of that. So I have written some code here actually. Just remove this point. Okay, this is class I have created called equals hashcode as example. Here what I did, I just created a set object of hash set, and here I'm creating three string, say s1, s2 and s3. I have same value for two string and one is different. Basically what set does, set store only unique data, not duplicate. Now I'm adding these value in my set and we will check what it store, right? We will also print the hash code of s1 and hash code of s3. So let's run it first. Okay, let me put it here. Fine. So you can see first print hash code s1 and s3 are same basically. So as I told you, if values are same for two objects, then hash code must be same for both objects, right? So this will print the same hash code of both objects. Now come to the next point. Set printing Krishna and Bhargav only, as this set does not allow the duplicate element. So one from this and this element, so two elements are storing in my set. Okay, now let's see what the problem if we create our own class. Say I have created an employee class, okay, and created two parameter here, integer age and string name. So and here is my constructor for both attribute, here some getter setter and two string method for this, right? Okay, just now come here, let me uncomment this code. As for the string I was doing, right, I have created another set for employee. Now I have created three employees object, say employee 1 2 3, and here I am storing the values. So in same way, here is my one value, second and third. So you are able to see like first employee and third employee has same attribute, employee 1 and employee 3, right? I have printed just hash code of employee 1 and employee 3, and what next, I just added these employee in my set, employee set, and printing the employee set. Okay, so let's run the code and see. I have not saved actually, that's why this came. Okay. Now this was for a string. Now come to employee. So hash code of employee 1 and employee 3 are different, you can see, right? But in case of a string, this was same. And also if I will check my employee set, here I have added 3 employees and but 2 are different, so this set is storing all 3, even these are same, right? But set does not allow duplicate. So how this is happening? So this is basically problem with the like we have not overridden hash code and equals method. And why this is working properly with the string, so let's see the implementation of string class, right? Actually string and all other wrapper classes has implemented these hash code and equals method in their way, so that's why we are getting same hash code and the set is storing the same only unique element in case of string. Let's see the equals method first. And okay, here in string they have provided the implementation for equals method, and in this way they have written some code like comparing this object with the passing argument object. So if both are same, this will return true. If this object is instance of string, then they are again doing like taking another string and checking for another string. They are checking character, like taking character array for string, passing string and new string, and here are two character arrays of character, right? Now they are just checking the equality of character for both objects of string. So if this is not equal to, like for one string character is not equal to another string character, then this will return false, else this will return true, and at last this will returning false if no condition will fulfill. So in our case, like we will check each character for the string and this will comparing, and at last this will return true, right? So this is the implementation of equals method. Now come to the hash code method. Here is hash code method. So they have taken a integer, say h. Now just comparing h is equal to 0 and value we are passing it should be greater than 0, like what is object contains should be greater than 0. And in the same way, array of character, we are storing the string value in array of character. Now just iterating by for loop these characters and calculating for to the hash code, right? So they have taken 31. Why 31? Because we can say we can use 31 or 70 or any prime number, because there are some less possibility to match two hash code for the different value. So that's why here taken 31, right? We can take any prime number. Like this is basically calculation for our hash code, and this should be different for two different value, but in some cases this should be same for two different value, right? So here just storing, just calculating by into and plus the characters and just returning the hash code. So this is implementation in string method. That's why we were getting the same hash code for s1 and s3, and set were storing the same set was not storing the duplicate bit. Okay, now come to our point. In case of our employee class, let's override the hash code method first. Okay, then see, I have written actually here, but just commented. So let me comment out this one. Let me explain a little bit here. In the same way, what string class implemented. So we have taken say integer 1, just we are generating the hash code with the help of our two parameter name and age. So I'm getting the name hash code, this is a string hash code, this will return, and we are just calculating and again passing the same hash code, and for taking 31 here for edge. So we can add another other parameters if we have another parameter in my class. Okay, now returning the hash value of my class. Fine. Now come to the next point. I have overridden Hashcode method now, right? So let me run my code here. First, let me put a separator. Say this is my set of. Here, let me put a separator. Okay. So I can understand. Like this is my set and this is my Hashcode. Okay, little bit go. Fine. So this was for string and this is for employee. Now you can see the hash code of employee 1 and hash code of employee 3 are same, right? Because we have overridden Hashcode method. But this is done, right? Hash code are same. Still in my set there are duplicate element for employee 1 and employee 3. Right, we have passed the same parameter like age and name, but we are getting the duplicate element here. So what is the cause here? This is because of equals method, right? Basically right now equals, what is happening right now, this is calling the default implementation of equals method in object class. This method I will show you, equals method, right? So this is comparing the employee like object is equal with the equals operator with the object 2. So what it is comparing right now, let me show you here. Let me only print, say emp1 is emp1 and emp3. 2 is actually different, so I'm not printing it. That will be different anyways. So let's see this. Employee 1 here is printing employee is this employee. So here it looks like same, right? This is looking same because I have overridden toString method. So let me comment that method and we will see toString method where I have overridden. Okay. Now I run this code. This is generating like employee 1 is this. So here this is looking same, right? But actually this is referring to this object. So comparing this, right? Because we have some different parameter, so we have to compare with our parameter, say age with the name. And why this is happening? Because when we are calling this add method, so this will call the add method of hash set. Here if I will check, so here is implementation for the map and here's put value call. Okay, you can see here this is not comparing with the help of that operator, this is comparing with the equals method. So here both, like this is comparing the hash code with the equals operator as well equals method. That's why I also need to implement this equals method with the hashcode method. So let's override that method and then we will check the result. Just overriding this method. Now let's see. Now you can see, but I need to again uncomment this string to a string method. So now we will check. Okay, now this is storing only unique element of this our class. Okay, now we got like hash code are same, values are same, and that's why this is storing the same, storing that like only unique element in my employee set. So this is a clear understanding. I think there is some mechanism, this is internally called has map, and if you able to see, this is basically implementation of Java 1.8 put method of has map. There is some different implementation was in 1.7, right? So if you will check the put method of 1.7 has map, then you will get some different implementation, because in 1.7 they have provided like use linked list to store next element. One in case of Java 1.8, here they've used binary tree to store the next element, right? So we have another video, if you want, if you are interested to see the working of has map in different Java versions, Java 1.7 and as well Java 1.8. So you can go there and you can check. But this I just show you that like you need to implement or override this equals and hashcode method in case of you are using your user defined class, right? So I think this is done. If you uncomment any of method, this will not provide the expected result. So I think that's it, and thanks for watching. Keep learning.